guys? So today we're going to go ahead and be starting actually on this beautiful 2010 Challenger. It already has a few modifications on it. It's a really sharp car, and actually rather low miles too. But so it is a 6-1, and it already has a Magnason supercharger on it. So it already ran pretty good. Already went ahead and got it on the dyno. So I'm going to go ahead, so we have our base numbers, what it makes beforehand before we start messing with it. So the plans for this guy is going to go ahead and put a little more aggressive cam in it. It'll still be a very nice streetable cam, but it's going to work really well with the blower and give it a little more sound and definitely a bit more power. So look forward to going and getting started with that. So that's it. Let's go ahead and pop the hood so you can check out the how she looks underneath too. Alright, so here's a little update. Went ahead, got the front bumper pulled off, radiator's pulled out, AC condenser and everything's dropped down, condenser for the blower as well as, so all set to go there. So pretty much the next step here at this point now is going to be to go ahead, we're going to take the alternator off and pull on the AC pump loose. That way we'll be able to get the front cover off and damper off and all that good stuff. So she's getting a little ugly right now, but it's just part of the fun, part of the process. So. Alright, we're back here in a little bit for an update. So alright, here we go. Next step. Got a little bit more done. Go ahead and pull the front cover off. So that part's off now. Everything's out of the way pretty much now. So next step is going to be, we're going to go ahead and be getting ready to pull the oil pump off here and everything. Take out pickup tube and all that stuff. And I'm going to need to pull the valve covers off here really soon as well, but coming right on along. So for this guy here, all I got to do is go ahead and pull these 4 bolts off for the oil pump. There's 1 bolt down here, which is always fun to get to, for the oil pickup tube. Then it'll pump will slide off. And then we have the cam bolt for the upper sprocket for it. And then we have a couple bolts that holds this whole tensioner assembly and it's behind it. Pull them out, and the cam will be ready to come out then. And that plate also helps retain the cam in, and it holds the tensioners on as well. So we're getting there. Just a little bit more. Can't remember. I think I had the front cover pulled off already, but still had the plate that retained the cam and everything in it. It still had the rockers and everything fully on, so I did go ahead and start tearing apart some of that more. Got the rockers all out, so the shafts are gone. Went ahead and did remove the plate off front, and I already started to pull the cam out a little bit, as you can see. So one of the big things is when you are pulling the cam and installing the cam, you don't want to end up catching the cam bearings with any of the lobes, because they will end up tearing and scratching the bearing up. So you're pulling out, you're pulling real gently, and you're also spinning it at the same time. So if it does start to catch, you're not pulling and tearing up the valve at all. So that's one of the big things. Definitely got to make sure you're doing and taking care of. Alright, so I got the cam out, and I also have the new one here as well, just for a little comparison. So even right off hand, if you look at the shape of these lobes, you can even see a difference between factory cam, which would be this one here obviously, and this one here. Looking at lobes, like you can see, this lobe is definitely wider, so this lobe is skinnier versus this one. And it does even visually appear to be a little taller on the new cam as well. But It definitely is a bit bigger than a stock one anyway, but even visually you can see there's definitely a difference there. But so next step is we're going to go ahead and get this guy all cleaned up, because there's going to have to be some machining oil and everything on it, and a little bit of debris from that. So you want to go ahead and clean that up so you don't get any contamination in it. And then we're going to lube it all up, so it should be good to go. So we won't have anything going on dry, and we'll stick her in. Alright, just like that, the new camshaft is in. I don't know how much you could really honestly see when I was putting it in, but I just saw I had to go ahead and kept spinning it. That way it doesn't catch any of the lobes on the cam bearings. She goes in nice and smooth, it's nice and easy. You definitely don't want to force it. But it's in there, so the next thing we're going to do, go ahead and put the retaining plate back on. It has the 3 bolts, one there, there. That'll hold it in. Make sure everything's, free, loose. I'm gonna go ahead, line up our marks. There's a little dot on the cam gear as well. Line up with a single Bluetooth. Crank one, then we'll line up with these two that are blue. Go ahead, slide them on. First thing we're going to worry about hooking up is getting the crank one on. Then we'll lift up the cam as needed. It's a little hard doing it with one hand, apologize. That one's in, you can see. Hopefully you can see at least, I should say. Just like that. So go ahead and grab the cam bolt. We're going to go ahead and clean up the cam bolt and put a little Loctite on it. And we're not going to have to worry about potentially backing off. Go ahead and just snug it up with the impact gun a little bit. Nothing crazy right now, we'll torque it here in a little bit. Sure everything's in there, yep, everything's good. And just that snug, we'll go ahead and check, make sure everything's loose. And this does spin, it does, well actually I can feel it already, so good. There's end play that sometimes you have to check. I have had a cam before that was machined wrong, unfortunately, and once you tighten up the cam gear, it actually sandwiched the cam against that plate, and it locked the cam up. And when you go to start the motor, the cam won't move, shears the pin off, and you end up getting some valves, hit the pistons, and bad things happen. So, when I've learned, you always gotta double check. So, there's actually enough slop in the chain here with the tensioner pulled back that you can actually feel it spin. So, all good to go. So we're going to pull this guy out. So we'll put tension on the chain. So we're good to go. It's tightened it right up. Can't move it now. Alright. And now this is one of the very least fun parts about doing this. Trying to put the oil pump pickup tube bolt back in. Just right down here. So you have to try to feed it up through, get in there, get it started. Try not to drop it, and get her put back in. So let's go ahead and do that. You get to watch me struggle, and so you enjoy it a little bit. Alright, so now for this next part, I'm going to go ahead and start changing out the springs for all the valves. I'm not really going to video this because it just takes a long time and it's a very slow process. It's basically just going through changing one spring at a time and putting new You can do titanium retainers on it as well to help the spring. So it's gonna be the new ones, dramatically beefier than what the factory ones are. As you can see here, you know. So we're gonna go ahead and change all these out. So it's just really time consuming, so you have to do one at a time. Every intake separately, every exhaust separately, and jump over to the other side. Bit of an update. Went ahead and got all those springs installed on the motor, and then ended up going ahead and putting the valve springs in and putting the rocker covers on, or rockers and the rocker covers on. Buttoning up pretty much this side. Put all the wiring back together now, so the left side is all back together really overall. So went ahead and figured to go ahead and stop here before I get going too far on this side though. As you can see, got, like I said, the springs already done, and I popped in most of the push rods as well. I have one more left still to do, but so it's pretty much ready to go. And it's going to show a little bit of a difference here. Here we have the new ones that are a little bit stronger, a little thicker wall, and everything versus the factory ones here. And there's definitely see a little bit of a difference there, but obviously you can't see the thickness inside. But these ones will end up bending with extra pressure, the spring, and also. Alright, here we go. Go ahead. Got everything else finished up, fluids in and everything. We're going to have to top off the coolant once we get it going and everything. It's going to work down and get a few more air bubbles out of it. But we're all set to go. Got oil in it, and go ahead and didn't worry about putting the front bumper on or anything else. That way, in case we do have any leaks, you know, we can get to it a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and I loaded the tune in, so I'm going to go ahead and get ready to do a data log, so we'll be able to see what exactly is going on, see what we're going to need to change for it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get it going there. we go. It's getting a little bit later here in the evening, but some blinding myself, nice. But so we're going to working on the tuning here. The tune coming in pretty good now. We've been getting it squared away. Drivability's getting pretty good. Working on a little bit of wide open throttle stuff, and it's getting pretty good now. So looking forward to that. But went ahead and got all the tuner mounted up all nice and securely, and have the gauge set up all good to go, so we can try to be able to go ahead and, I'll be able to very carefully be able to go ahead and drive and watch the gauges and look at the computer, no problem. Shift, at the same time, we have a stick shift, we'll be set to go, so it should work out just lovely, but so let's go ahead and get going. We're going to go ahead and take her for a little spin, do some dialoguing, and go from there. Second gear, third gear, and get up in fourth, and three. Spare fuel. Pretty conservative with timing because it is a stock short block, so definitely can't get too crazy with it. It has a little more compression and it has those small ring lands. So 531 rear wheel horsepower ended up being the final number we were able to get this day, with battling a few issues where the car kept pulling timing. Ended up putting on the lift and found out the exhaust was hitting against the drive shaft loop, causing a false knock sensor, so it would pull timing. Thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for new videos as there are going to be more and more coming out. Also, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.